Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Saturday Smackdown. Absolutely. Today we have Mr. Bramboy versus Wuangaga, two very active members of the ESOC and ESO community, seeing them a lot, playing lots of games. I'd say more, but I want to keep this intro short because we're looking at a video of me looking at my Twitter. Yeah, making contact with the original AOE 3 game designers and developers. Tomorrow I'll be submitting a list of questions to some of the old employees who worked for Ensemble Studios, who are, of course, the people who made the Age of Empires series. So if you have any questions that you would like answered by some of the people who might be able to reminisce a little bit about Age of Empires 3 during its development and all of that stuff all so long ago, do drop them in the chat, the comments below. I will be shortlisting all the good questions from the forums and from the comment sections of the videos and submitting it to these people. Aside from that, enjoy the video. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Best of 7 series Saturday Smackdown between some of Age of Empires 3's top-level players. Today, Maybe Bramboy isn't the the big names like we've sometimes seen on Smackdown, like Samwise 12 and H2O and among plenty of other people. But Bramboy and Wuangaga, would you like to update me on how that might be said?
What Wuangaga?
Yeah.
Wuangaga.
That's it. Yeah, Wuangaga. That looks right. I like that. These two very evenly matched, so it's going to be a nice series, I assume. And we'll have to see how this pans out. Absolutely. Bramboy, somebody I've known for a very, very long time on ESO. I've seen him become a much better player than he was when I first met him, actually. But we shall see. Absolutely looking forward to this. As always, Saturday Smackdown. For those, I'm just going to quickly make a very, very quick announcement. I've already said it on Twitch just before I started this recording, but I'd like to say it again for the video. There is a video that is announcing Saturday Smackdown is live, which I put up every week, but I'm going to leave it up this week because there's some pretty cool information on the other video. It's like a big maze of videos that link to each other. The video where I was talking about making contact with the original Age of Empires 3 game designers and developers. We can ask them some questions, and I think it'd be really cool if the community came up with some questions, because I certainly won't be able to think up everything, and I reckon there'll be a few gems that you guys will ask up. So we can submit questions to the people who originally developed and designed this game, and I think that would be pretty fun. So do check out that video there, and the link in the description to that. But let's talk about Saturday Smackdown here. We do have, in the north of the map, in the color yellow, Wuangaga, playing as Japan.
Wuangaga. It's tricky because you want to think there's an extra A between the N and the G, but there's in fact not.
Yes, because of the phonetics of English, we are used to that structure when it comes to.
Feels like there should be a vowel.
Or at least English. I forgot to press Control-Shift-F because I was busy, but I have done it now, and we're following the monk near the trading post around. What might he find today? Some animals? I don't know, this is mesmerizing, it truly is. I think Azempt has done an absolutely wonderful job with this UI, and I'm looking forward to the future of Age of Empires 3 casting, especially with the Winter Tournament coming up. This is a wonderful piece of machinery.
Yeah, it's going to be so good for the Winter Tournament to have this, because, I think casting-wise, the last tournament was, so every tournament that we do, right? Every tournament that all the community puts on gets better and better. The level of the casting improves because people get more comfortable just with casting in general, and the tooling improves, the UIs, the maps, etc. And I think this next tournament is going to be a good one. A lot of big name players, H2O and Samwise 12, both
in the tournament. Yeah, H2O did. Yeah, that's right. H2O did not compete in the previous one. I think he was done for the time being. I believe Blackstar has also returned and will be competing. Am I right?
Yeah, I think I've seen his name on there. So that it's going to be basically all of the current big names are in there. Musket JR, all the good players are in there.
And further to this, I have a whole month off, the vacation that you get over Christmas. Plenty of time to be casting, and I'm assuming some of the tournament will be during this Christmas break. But either way, I will be involved as much as I can be, and I absolutely intend to be fully involved. Very, very much looking forward to the Winter Tournament action. Do head over to eso-community.net if you would like to find out more, if you'd like to fund the prize pool. But that is absolutely by no means something that anyone has to do, and is actually something I probably shouldn't have said on this stream. Whoops, that came out. My apologies. Anyway, in the south of
Microsoft, please forgive me.
Basically. I just realized I'm not supposed to say stuff like that. But, okay. We do have Japan in the south of the map, but we introduced the yellow player. That we did, but we got sidetracked with lots of some funky comments about stuff like machinery. This is clearly not machinery. This is software, and never mind all of those things. But Japan mirror we do have. I noticed the green player picked up a big beefy wood treasure. And having said that, so is the other player. They're both swimming in wood treasures. Have you looked at that? Jesus.
Yeah. One thing that I noticed right at the start of the game, both players had a wood treasure in their base to start the game. So despite the fact that it was a 100 coin start, both players got that like very early wood treasure and were still able to get the consulate. And I mean, that's good. Ideally, you want to chop as little wood in the first stage as possible, just because wood gathers so slowly. And with Japan, it's really important to get that consulate down and that 106 extra wood for the shrine. So having that wood treasure in base, definitely going to be beneficial. And both players had that right to start off. So both starting off on about even feet. But yeah, as you mentioned, if just take a look at the wood treasure, 50 wood, 40 wood, 110 wood, 85 wood, 40 wood, just massive amounts of wood treasures have been picked up by all players so far in the game, and that's really going to springboard their shrine booming here to start the game.
You're going to ramp these Japanese players into the next stage with lots of little bits of extra resources here and there from these shrines. Nice. But yeah, both players aging up, of course. It looks like Bramboy is a bit further aged up than his opponent there. Is there a discrepancy in the number of shrines that they have? I'm not sure. Yes, Bramboy has one extra, but I'm not sure if that's because Yellow is currently constructing one. Yes, he is down to the south here. But whatever it is, Bramboy is up a little bit quicker, and that is going to make him a little bit more competitive for whatever reason it is. We'll have to see how much that influences him. Of course, it's going to speed up his shipment progression for the rest of the game. We'll see how relevant that is. But Japan Mirror. ZutaZuta. We've said this before, right? This is one of the more interesting mirrors. There's always a lot going on, and I know Japan is certainly a civilization you like playing. Do you want to tell us about it?
I love this matchup, and on this map, I think this could be a little bit interesting because this is one of the maps where I'm not convinced one way or the other, like what's the correct way to play.
Oh, look at this up here. The monk's about to die. He's on 9 HP. Not going to finish building this shrine. Is he going to go down? No. Wow. He could have got it, though. He could have got it. He just walked back. He went to place that shrine down using the shift click or something. I don't know what happened there. He could have got one more shot in before he aged up. That would have died, and I don't think that yellow shrine would have gone up. I don't necessarily think that would have been a huge problem, but it would have been annoying. So you have to walk the other monk across the map. You wouldn't be able to scout your opponent for sure. And, you get less shrines down, ultimately. That's the biggest thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's huge. That's actually really, really big. I think he just mistimed it. If you take a look at the Japanese monk, they do have 10% range resistance, and they have 12 ranged attack. And so I think he was just, like, doing the calculation, but maybe he forgot to calculate in the range resistance. Yeah. And as a result, just didn't quite do enough damage with that one last shot. And he went to like put down the shrine thinking he had already killed it. And as you mentioned, that shrine would have gone up, and then he would have been stuck in a sore spot. But yeah, gonna end up getting that monk back up.
That's right. That 600 wood treasure he's just received. It'd be a lot slower turning that into shrines, I can tell you, if that had died. But yes, we sort of got sidetracked from the Japanese description mirror, whatever it was.
Yeah, and so both builds looking like they're going to be about the same. The kind of interesting dynamic, I guess, to this matchup is what do your second and third cards end up being. Most players are going to send 600 wood just because it's going to help you construct shrines, get your market upgrades, all of those very important researches, stuff like that going. But then the next thing is, like, what do you send next? Do you send 4 villagers, which both players, by the looks of it, have sent? Or do you send 4 villagers and then 4 villagers again to maximize your economy and just power up the market eco and try and stay in the second age and control the map with, really good ashy presence and just try and get an economic advantage by taking down more of your opponent's shrines than he's able to take down of yours? Or do you do 600 wood, 4 vil, 600 wood, sacrifice some of the map control that your opponent is going to get if he continues to mass Ashigaru, but at the same time allow yourself to age up and get much stronger units? Because if you think of all of the upgrades that you can put on Ashies in the second age, they start adding up very, very quickly. You have the Golden Pavilion, you have potential Ashy attack card, you have all the upgrades that you can potentially get from the Golden Pavilion as well. You've got daimios coming into the mix. You've got close combat as your another card that's available. You can easily stack 5, 6, 7 upgrades on Ashies in a real hurry in the Third Age of Japan, and turn them into basically this unkillable super speed steroid unit that is impossible to deal with. So we'll end up
steroid units. That is so true. Those things stack so many upgrades. They're absolutely disgusting once they get going. But so far in this mirror, it looks like the green player has managed. Sorry, the yellow player. My mistake there. Has gotten out a few extra musketeers. What do we have?
Yeah, there it is. 600 coin.
600 gold. Looks like the
So Brandboy is going to be playing the style, and we can see this already. Look at his military unit population. He's got 8 military units on the floor so far, and that's it. And if you take a look at what Yellow is doing, he's playing much more economically. He's got 28 or 27 military units, and he's using that to kill shrines. We can see he was just down here sieging shrines, killing shrines, and you can see the economic unit population starting to swing slowly in his favor. He's up to, I've got the calculator on, so he's up to economic unit population, and that's partly due to the fact that he's, maybe starting to catch up in shrines a little bit. He's sent his second 4 villager shipment, likely, and as a result, he's going to continue to pull ahead in terms of shrines, but all this while, we can see Mr. Bramboy is stockpiling resources and is very soon going to be able to age up, and in fact, he's dropped it down right back here. So Golden Pavilion being constructed.
Going down.
He's on his way to the next stage.
We do. Yes, green, though, not so many military units, obviously, because he's aging up. Obvious things here. Yellow here has a much bigger army, and for the time being, he's going to be able to run around and destroy the shrines. But how relevant is that really going to be? Yeah. I feel as if once, there's plenty of population room.
And look at what he's doing with this raid too. This is actually so good because if you take a look at Yellow's army, first of all, it's way far away from shrines that he could potentially be killing. It's way far away from actually being able to pressure the base. And because he's got his crossbows grouped up, he's not really able to close the gap with the Ashies, and he's going to end up losing quite a few villagers as a result of it.
Wait, what? Yellow?
Yeah, Yellow. I mean, he's got the crossbows Ashies, and so they're just slowing him down a little bit.
Definitely. Bramboy doing the right thing there, bringing his units back towards his opponent's base, not only to get the villager kills in that we absolutely did see, and obviously did kill some there, but dragging the Yellow army away, as Zuta mentioned, away from the shrines that he will not be sieging anymore, and also away from his base, where, there's lots of important structures over there. It does take a while to get up. I have no idea. Well, can we see text being researched? No, he's up now. He had quite a few villages on that, so it wasn't going to take perhaps too long. But he is now up, and the Yellow army is on the other side of the map. Nowhere to be seen. Potentially here, maybe Yellow did not realize that Bramboy was edging up, though he didn't have that many units. It was perhaps easy to tell, but with the positioning of Green's army, maybe he didn't realize. Maybe it was a ploy or.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I mean, he ended up aging up himself as well, right? I think he's just a little bit behind. I'm not sure if so Ace at one time told me that the Japan shipments were a little bit bugged, and so you couldn't tell if they had sent the second shipment. So I'm not sure if he went 600 wood 4vil 600 coin, or if he's just really that far behind in his shipment progression. But either way, Bramboy aged up significantly earlier. He's now slightly ahead on shrines because that whole time that those 8 Ashies were running around, he was continuing to build shrines, continuing to improve his economy, and his opponent wasn't doing that. And as a result, he started to pull ahead a little bit in shrines. And now he's got the tempo swing. He's got the 2 flaming arrows out earlier. He's got his discipline upgrade already researched and done. And he's threatening a very scary timing push here, and it's going to be at least another minute or so until the 2 flaming arrows can come out for the Yellow player, and might be out of position and not be able to deal with it as a result. We'll have to see.
7 villagers coming out there as his first home city shipment in the Fortress Age. Whoosh, indeed. That is not the shipment I was expecting, especially considering Bramboy was up to the Fortress Age, a bit sooner than he was, and it was inevitable that a big push like this was going to come in. Oh, hold on though. Those cannons at the back are a little bit vulnerable. We do have the what do you call this, a flank guard. If I'd remembered the word, that would have sounded so much better. But nicely does manage to remove one of the cannons there, one of the flaming arrows here. And if he gets away with this, if he's able to cheekily snipe down these cannons without really using up his own shipment, he has just sent 7 villagers, which I thought was, really, really bad for him, because he did not have that, extra military presence to counter this raid that was coming in. It was already up slower than his opponent. But here, it looks like he's done a nice job of getting rid of the cannons, and now it's a very even musket fight, and he's 7 villagers up.
Yeah, one other thing that I noticed right before the start of this as well was that Yellow has researched Flintlock. He got that tech just before this fight started. And as a result, he's going to have a little bit of extra DPS on his Ashes. If we take a look at the ranged attack 34, maybe, do they both have Flintlock already researched? Or is Flintlock the HP one? Yeah, it's the HP. It's the HP. So he's got 221 HP versus 204 HP of Mr. Brownboy. So he's working with a little bit of extra HP, and against the two cannons, certainly having those extra stats definitely helped. Yeah. And now when he's got the 7 villagers working for him, his economy is going to be pretty strong off the back of this as well. The one thing that is a little scary is that both players are very quickly running out of cherry orchards. In fact, Yellow has hard stopped.
There's a tiny one left there, isn't it? I can't even click on it to see how much is left. 600 food left in there. So perhaps he's going to time it right, and there will be a cherry orchard shipment arriving soon, probably as his next one. But Bramboy, has already sent that here. Obviously, they're about to run out. Yeah. So it's a real concern if he can't get that down. If food production stops, certainly military production is going to stop, at least for obviously Ashigari musketeers. And he's got a very, very narrow window to defend his base before these structures that create units are gone. But he does have the cherry orchards there. The question is that going to affect him in a big way?
I don't know. He ran a little bit out of steam. He's not been producing very many military units over the past couple of minutes. And Mr. Bramboy now does have these 2 flaming arrows back in the mix as well. This is going to be another hard fight. Like, the only way that you can win this style is if you just have way more units than your opponent, and that's not true right now.
Is he here, just bringing in those Minutemen style units, which do have those damage multipliers versus the sort of sieging artillery building units, but there wasn't really that very many of them there. They are now gone. Having said that, though, this fight is what happened. Yeah,
it's okay. I really think it's coming down to the Flintlock research. Yeah, I mean, if you look
that tech, that was a big tech.
Yeah, it's 10%. I think.
Yeah, I mean it's expensive as well.
Yeah, it's like 250 coin, 250 wood, something like that. One of them costs. Let's look at the text research. Text complete. Flintlock. He's actually got paper cartridge and Flintlock now.
Paper cartridge is definitely DPS. Yeah. Oh, was he taking some damage there, or whilst he's walking away? No, he's noticed. He's going to start returning fire there. But Bramboy being cheeky, coming in for a few extra shots here and there, and he's then going to start running away just as his opponent notices. Does have some reinforcing muskets here, so Yellow's not going to be expecting this. Whether he'll go back to the safety or the relative safety of his sort of base where new units are being produced is another thing. Perhaps if he did that, then obviously reinforcing units would arrive sooner. This would be perhaps more even for him, especially with the town center nearby. But actually just going to duke it out in the middle of the map here.
Yeah, look at the efficiency though in this trade for Yellow. Like he had fewer military units, and he's consistently winning these fights, and it's because he's got the 2 upgrades. Yeah. 100%.
If you think about it, I mean, look at the base HP of an Ashigari musketeer. It's quite high as it is, so an upgrade that increases HP is going to perhaps be more useful on a unit that has initially more HP than perhaps a unit that doesn't, like your traditional musketeer. That might not be true though, since they do cost more as a result of having more stats. But can't argue with results. That tech has been paying off, and well, clearly at this point in the game, managed to sneak out an extra villager shipment and did so well in all of these fights. It is worth pointing out though that despite that villager shipment, yes, he snuck it in, but the economic the economy has actually been fairly even most of the game. I think Yellow has just pulled ahead a little bit there. But Green does have a bigger army at this point, and most of his units are sieging buildings. This isn't too good for him. Definitely doesn't want to be doing that. He's going to retreat here by the looks of it.
Wuangaga needs to be a little bit careful here. He does have the upgrade advantage. Take a look at his cards too. I mean, he is working with the those steroid Ashies that we mentioned, right, with all the upgrades. He's got the Golden Pavilion. He's got both the Golden Pavilion text, close combat, paper cartridge.
Look at those musks in the back as well, just picking off the villagers. That's nice of Bramble, just to have a couple musks standing around.
It's so annoying to deal with. He's gotta split a couple off to deal with that. Look at the econ unit population as well as a result of this. Mr. Brambway, despite the fact that he's kind of losing these trades, he's been very successful at clearing out the map. Take a look at his half of the map, and it's complete green. There's no yellow. And then look at what he's doing over here, right? He's sieging down shrines with a couple clubmen. He's just being really annoying. He's continually killing some villagers back here. He's harassing the food line, all that kind of stuff. And look at and look at the econ unit population as a result of it. The military units are fairly close, and one can argue that Yellow's army is significantly better because he does have those extra musket upgrades. But is it really going to matter if your opponent, has got 33% more economy than you? And at this point, I would say it's not going to matter because huge raid coming here, and this is potentially nail in the coffin.
I was about to say that. I think it's because I cast with you so much. Nail in the coffin. That is a phrase that happens in this context quite frequently. Those villagers, they definitely don't want to be walking home because they have to walk through all those musketeers. Their best option here is to retreat away rather than towards the town center because they might be able to join up. Was that a misclick? I'm not. Or maybe he tried to dupe him. Perhaps just do the quickly run in the other direction, and your opponent doesn't realize, or maybe he timed it wrong with his army advancing. Of course, he wanted to make use of the extra musketeer speed so they could catch up. Having said that, though, there's crossbowmen mixed in. I just noticed those, so he wasn't actually moving any quicker. Either way, does escape with a couple villages, but certainly look at that economy graph. It's definitely not looking good at all. He lost a lot of villagers on that coin mine, and that's something that could have been avoided, but Bramboy identifying that gold had to be coming in from somewhere and absolutely knew where he wanted to be. Has just head up to the industrial age. I did not notice that. Looks like Bramboy sneaking on up to the industrial age. Now has access to some absolutely monstrous shipments.
The free daimyo was almost.
We don't want him going down. No. But yeah, we'll see what he chooses to do. Monstrous shipments, monstrous upgrades. The question is, can he tank it out? Has just spent 3,200 resources aging up, but I think the answer is probably yes.
Yeah, he'll be okay. He's got Honored Ashigaru being researched in one of these barracks right now. It's at 60%. Combine that with the daimyo. Once that hits up, he will be ready to duke it out, and we're gonna see these stats just explode here in a second. 246 to 297 in the HP department, up to 40 ranged attack. And this is now where that economic disparity is really starting to shine through. And this is going to be very difficult to deal with. 4 flaming arrow shipment coming, Honored Ashigaru musketeers. Things all of a sudden went from bad to really, really bad for the world.
He also has this, this trading route he's upgrading, getting going for him as well. Yeah, Bramboy really showing some really nice stuff here, playing really well, I would say. With all of these, the couple of musketeers in the back shooting the villagers. With all of the pikeman style clubman guys running around, dealing damage to the shrines early on, getting that age up in quite quick early on in the game.
Here comes Shogun as well. It's just gonna get even more brutal.
And look at the full flaming ouchie. Plus 12s everywhere on both sides, actually. But those daimios heading into hand combat as well. No fear here. Knows he's gonna close out the game with all these units, and is absolutely okay with what's going on. Wuangaga has resigned. There it is. Was about to do trade monopoly. Now I'm sad, damn it.
And I think the biggest impact that Mr. Bramboy had in that game was that cute little run by with the Ashies. It bought him so much time. If we think about the game on a whole, he was always operating with a tech advantage. He was always operating with an age up advantage. Arguably, for much of the game, Wuangaga had slightly better upgrades, but he was always slightly ahead in the age up, and as a result, he was always slightly ahead in his shipment progression, meaning his next card got earlier, his 2 flaming arrows came in a little bit earlier, he was able to push, do some damage.
That's actually shown very well in the graphs as well.
Yeah, and and just like running those 8 Ashies around the back there, causing that distraction allowed him to get ahead economically and get his age up on track and slow down his opponent. Remember, we can't forget, he killed like 2 or 3 villagers back there that were building the wonder for his opponent as well. Slowed him down, made him bail up a bunch of villagers, and take a look at all resources gathered as a result of that. Like, he just was continuing to power ahead. His eco was in a really good spot, and a lot of that comes to the map control and the age up advantage that he was getting.
But it could have turned out differently. Perhaps Yellow did not lose quite so many villagers aging up. Perhaps he dealt a little bit better with that drive-by raid. He did manage to squeeze out that 7 villager shipment and adequately deal with the falconet. The flaming arrows. What do you think of that?
It was really risky, right? I think the big decider in that particular fight was the fact that he had Flintlock immediately right when the flaming arrows came. Plus, the flaming arrows were slightly out of position as well. They came in from they kind of came in without the Ashies, right? Ideally, your Ashies are standing like right on top of your flaming arrows, and the flank kind of came in and caught them, and he got off like 1 or 2 really good clean volleys without taking any shots whatsoever from the Ashies or anything, and as a result, he ended up being okay. Now that those 7 villagers, they do 2 things. There's 2 reasons why I don't like sending 7 villagers immediately in the 3rd age. One is you run the risk of just dying if your opponent sends 2 flaming arrows or some sort of military unit shipment or military unit upgrade. You're just going to get steamrolled potentially, because ideally, you're probably both at about the same spot when you hit there, right? And if you're sending 7 vills and I'm sending 2 cannons, like, I'm going to just steamroll through you in the next fight, right? There's very little that's going to be done about it. And secondly, the reason why I don't like it, and maybe more importantly, and something that people don't realize, is when you send 7 villagers, you're almost always in the case when you're in early age 3 that you're going to need to send cherry orchards very, very soon. And what do 7 villagers do? They just eat through your cherries that much quicker, to be perfectly honest. You already need to send your cherry orchards as your next card almost 100% of the time as Japan. And sending 7 villagers just ends up like expediting that fact, and then usually you just end up with 7 extra villagers gathering unupgraded wood for a couple extra minutes as a result.
Which is not efficient at all. And,
which is not efficient,
especially with your opponent on top of you. You want that food to really be making units with, and that was something that was kind of relevant in this game. Had those cherry orchards not arrived exactly when they did, and perhaps arguably they were still a bit late, those barracks were idle, and a big army was on top of his base. And if those barracks had gone down during the time that there was no food income because he couldn't make anything to defend them with, that's also worth considering. But that is the end of game number 1. It does go to Mr. Bramboy. Let's head on out and get into game number 2. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to game number 2 in this best of 7 series between Mr. Bramboy and Lady Gaga.
That's pretty good, honestly. That's pretty close.
Yeah.
That's almost as good. It's almost as good as Kaiser Chiefs.
Yeah.
Kaiser Clan.
Kaiser Chief, Kaiser Clan, Kaiser Clean. Yeah. There was also, oh god, what was I gonna say? I can't remember what I was going to say, honestly. But it doesn't matter. We do have a beautiful Gaia map in front of us. I believe this one is called Gaia, California. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I love the water animations, the reflections, the 3D, all the 3D models and the textures. And AOE 3 is a beautiful looking game, especially for something that came out in 2005.
This game came out in 2005. It's been 10 years, and the graphics still stand up, I think, to a lot of other modern RTSs, to be perfectly honest.
Absolutely agree. I do think that a modern game that looked like this would be slightly better optimized in the sense that it would use less resources, but most PCs can handle that nowadays. But this game, like, regardless of the time, it's an impressive piece of work. I would absolutely say so. But I swear we say that far too often. But it was saving recorded game, and we were getting into it. So what else did I have to mention other than and I was staring right at the water when I loaded in, so forgive me. We do, though, have Mr. Bramboy in the right-hand side of the map in the color green, shooting his hunts back towards his base, popping his villagers through the town center. Interestingly enough, I am, over this winter, intending to make an absolute monstrous ton of tips and tricks videos. I really, really want to power that series out and just get that done, because I've made, like, it was supposed to be a regular series, and I've made 7 over the course of 2 years. So, it's pretty bad, but I think popping your villages in the town center and throwing them out the other side is definitely something new players would find cool, and I think there's still enough of them. It's definitely true. If you look at the stats for accounts made every day available on the ESO server status. I'm going to make a video about that as well. And also the number of people playing after a Steam sale, you know, that kind of thing is very relevant and worth considering. But Bramboy, here he is, playing as the Portuguese in the right-hand side of the map, picking himself up an 80 wood treasure and, yeah, popping his villages through the town centre. Very interesting. So, oh god, I see. Never mind. Red though. Insightful as always. Red, though, in the left-hand side of the map, playing British here. So, 2 economically focused civilizations on a very closed map. Gaia, California, with its, of course, 4, or is it 3? There are 3, no, there are 4. There used to be 3. He's changed it. It's now become 4 passages.
Yeah, is it 4 or 5? Yeah, there's extra ones. He opened it up a little bit, and I actually like that.
I like that, too.
I took off the fog briefly just so I could... take a look at the passages. We can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I never had one to begin with.
I think it gives you extra room for civilizations that really prioritize raiding to actually like move through some of these holes, and as a result of that, I think it makes it a little fair. It still keeps like the kind of choky dynamic and still allows you to put down buildings and wall segments and stuff like that to kind of control some of these spots, but. It makes it a little bit more difficult to do so, and I think I kind of like that.
Yeah, and I've heard you mention in the past that a lot of Gaia's maps are very closed off, and it does change things quite a lot. In some ways that are nice, they're interesting to watch, it is new and cool and stuff like that, but this is a very closed map. But I like the change as well, it keeps the aesthetic of the map, and the design is still clearly intact, all of those good things. But let's take a look at the treasures. We see... nothing huge. An 80 wood treasure to Bramboy, and certainly 75 food to the red player is going to help him age up a little bit quicker. Both players are about to click that age up button by the looks of it. Yeah, both players now aging up. One with the quartermaster, and of course that would be the player who is not British, as always, and switching all his villagers to wood as well. What does this tell us?
Well, I mean, it doesn't tell you too much. Well, which player? Sorry, I was in my own like little world, like thinking of something completely different.
Oh right, so I just threw that on you. It's the green player. Obviously he's going to need some wood for his market and whatever else he wants to do. But I was wondering if he had the idea of going for a dock, which he absolutely does by the looks of it. That was what I was actually getting at. That's the world that
I was actually lost in because.
Was it? We were both on the same wavelength then. I was just starting. Yeah. I was trying to introduce the topic with wood.
Well, you were coherently introducing it, and I was thinking about schooners and
tell us about schooners.
It's still a really good card, right? I mean, it makes fishing boats cost 40 wood, and as a result, we're gonna see that. We're gonna see a more economic gameplay out of Portuguese. Look at this; he's already doing some cute stuff up here. He has the intentions of making this a very long, drawn-out economic game, and we'll see whether or not that benefits him. Of course, Brits, one of the economic powerhouses themselves, do have that ability to manor boom. Really good, strong economy, good economic civ bonus there. But it is a water map. Portuguese do get that extra town center, going to help him secure the water a little bit. And we can already see a fishing boat has been trained, 1 dock down, and actually, what I was thinking about is I was thinking about how Bonang would play this map. I was wondering if like we would see this villager that was like starting to build walls and stuff up here, like.
Is he gonna wall himself out?
Well, big tip. I think it'd be kind of cute if he like walled himself, and then like went back here and like started docking on this side as well.
What the red side? Or you mean in this? Okay.
Well, just like hell, you can put a dock here, and then this villager down here could go put a dock down here.
Yeah,
that's what Bonang would do, right?
Yeah, I'd love to see like a dock in the absolute corner of the map there. There's perhaps red forgets to scout it or something. Obviously, you couldn't actually put it there because
it's gonna happen.
Is it?
And I think it's actually pretty smart because if we take off the fog once again, like there's not a ton of fish on either side, right? And so you don't want to commit too heavily to the water play on one side and not the other. And we're going to see that. We're like, this kind of is reminiscent of like Boning playing on Yucatan, right? Like where he kind of splits off both sides of the map, and we're going to see it. He's going to do the three-pronged dock play that I was actually thinking of. And when I was lost in thought and you jumped on me with that very difficult question about schooners, this was actually exactly the situation I was envisioning. I was wondering whether or not it would work out. It looks like we're gonna get to see whether or not it's gonna work out, because
we're gonna see, are we? We're gonna see if the water play. We're
so punny today.
Oh, boys. Can we get
just
some
filled with the singers?
Can we get some pog champs in the chat? No, foreheads. That's definitely more relevant. I want to see those foreheads in the chat. Absolutely. But yeah, I kind of like this. Obviously, it is very reminiscent of Yucatan, this map, and that Boning style of play that you're sort of pointing out with the docks and all corners of the map here. It's also worth pointing out that this is much more difficult to counter, perhaps, because if you do send water shipments, you have to choose which side you want to send them on. Red would have to choose which side he wants to fight. And then obviously you can't actually get them to the other side of the map. That's worth pointing out. It's also equally as difficult to defend because you can't, that's worth pointing out as well. But we'll see how this pans out. Obviously 700 wood is the first colonial age shipment for the green player, using that to power out the docks that we've been noticing, as well as these 40 wood fishing ships due to the schooners. That's an interesting shipment, Red. What could you be doing with that? We do see a church going down. We do see the glorious revolution. This one is called. Yeah, look, it's a very, very picturesque place to build a church. That is a wonderful position.
If you were gonna go to church, like that'd be a pretty swell place to go to church, like in the woods, like kind of tucked back in the corner.
Yeah, right on literally the edge of the world. Yep.
Yeah, if you like accidentally take like a wrong turn coming out of the church door, you step off the edge of the world.
Fall into oblivion and are gone forever. The world is flat, confirmed here on the Age of Empires stream. Absolutely. But I was going to talk about this 700 gold from the British player. That's not a very standard opening for a British player at all. But then, nor is this church. What does he have in mind? I'm really not quite sure what he's getting at here.
I think he's gonna.
Building caravels.
Did his caravel bug? Did he not?
He built it out of the 700 gold, I believe.
Where's his dock?
That's a good point. I thought that green dock was his, but he's playing as red. Yes, he must have shipped it.
He aged up. No, he aged up. He aged up.
Oh, fortress. That's what he used the coin for. I didn't even notice he was in the fortress age. Sneaking up to the fortress age. I was wrong about the train, and you were wrong about the shipment. Actually, it was a politician, so it didn't bug out. But interestingly, we have some Highlanders.
Yeah, he's doing like the old Black Watch rush, which is truthfully when young ZutaZuta first started playing Age of Empires 3, and he was searching for strategies on having games, the Black Watch Rush was one of the first to be identified as being OP.
That thread is still out there to this day.
Yeah. It's one of the first threads I read, like way back in like 2005 or 2006, and it looks like he's going to try and make it work. He does. Traditionally, the follow-up to this would be like sending 2 falconets, and you would just use the Black Watch and 2 falconets and try and apply some pressure. Could be okay. I mean, if we take a look at what Bramboy has in his base, he doesn't have any sort of military production whatsoever right now, and he definitely doesn't have any way to deal with 2 falconets and 8 super-powered musketeers. So, but at the same time, his economy is going to
sit around idle, though. That is not how you deal with, military buildings or not. He doesn't actually need them if these are going to stay there. We'll see what he's waiting for. Probably is going to be the next shipment before he gets underway. There really cannot see any other reason to be hanging around here. But that's actually 400 wood in a caravel. It's a cool politician, actually, especially as British. But not making use of any of the colonial age British bonuses, which is effectively a free manners. There's the 2 cannon shipment. Is sacrificing that, obviously, British age 2 agenda and obviously civilization bonus that it has, really for this surprise timing push with the Black Watch shipment, which does, I believe, cost 1,000 food from that advanced church, and as ZutaZuta accurately said, is followed up by the 2 cannons here. A very, very nice composition, a very, very strong musketeer unit, which is definitely going to be capable of protecting these falconets, and combined, they do have quite a lot of siege potential. What concerns me is the lack of units in terms of numbers, but these are powerful units, and they're going to be a short work for that house. We shall see what happens. The question is, though, can the Portuguese outlast this? You know, he is up to the Fortress Age himself now, and he has plenty of town centers. Minutemen are going to come out. He's going to have to micro these quite effectively, because if you just focus one Minutemen with these hypercharged musketeers, you're not going to achieve very much in terms of protecting your Falconers. One Falc does appear to go down with combined Minutemen and town center fire, or at least it will any second now. I don't know. This is obviously, it looks nice for Red. He's got the units here, but I think you know, with these Cassadors coming out and another, you know, military shipment or something like that from Bramboy, I think this is going to be short-lived.
Yeah, and I don't. His follow-up really is what's not going to be too good, right? If you take a look at the economic unit population, he's only got 34 villagers, which for Brits at, you know, the 10.5 minute mark. I say this often. The gold standard for Brit around 10 minutes is about 50 economic unit population. Mm-hmm. He's well short of that, and I think Mr. Bramboy is going to be perfectly fine with trading, you know, this town center for most of the HP on both of these two cannons. Yeah. He's still got his whole water economy going. On both sides. In fact, I mean, this caravel actually has fallen a little bit idle now that he took down the dock, and he's still, you know, working with a plenty strong sea eco on the other side. And, you know, now that the 8 Cassador shipment, or Cassadors have, I guess,
that cannon. Close, yeah. The only thing stopping these Cassadors is that one cannon, which is very low HP, and once it gets in range of that town center, he's going to put 10 villagers in and chip away at that cannon until it's gone. And he's already chipped away quite a lot of that thing's health, and as soon as that goes, those Cassadors are going to be able to just walk straight in there. Here comes the Minutemen, just going to quickly finish that up before he loses his barracks by the looks of it. Nice decision there to call the Minutemen out and quickly bring out that cannon before the barracks goes down. Some Dragoons adding into his composition as well. Going to make sure he's not going to randomly die to some Hussars that Red could be making here. But these Musketeers are truly useless now. These Cassadors just going to wreak havoc on them, and if the Musks try to fight back, those green Cassadors will just run away. They have longer range, and this is not good for Red.
Yeah, he's definitely in an awkward position. Behind this, he has been doing something economically. He did at least ship 8 villagers. We can't forget he is in the 3rd age as well, which counts for something. I mean, it's
and he's British, and he has built enough manners. This is true. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, if you take a look at the economic unit population, it is starting to catch up slightly, but he's put a lot of eggs in this basket. He doesn't even have a market. I just clicked on a villager. He doesn't even have any market upgrades, so that's definitely not going to be good for him.
Nor does Bramboy, though, but he has fishing ships and stuff.
He has fishing ships, and his...
Big raid coming in, though. Maybe Red can bring it back here. Those villages are a little bit far away from a town center, and he has, you know, the Musketeers approaching here as well. I don't really think they're going to add any more villager kills, but certainly going to pick up a few kills there and make the economy difference actually fairly even.
Yeah, and if he can continue to keep this pressure up, right? He's got this one warship still doing some work over here on this dock as well. So if he can clear out this south side sea and continue to keep up pressure on this next coin mine, he could be okay. I actually even like what he's doing here. We can see one musket going over here, looking at this coin mine. He's very. He definitely realizes that if he can control the coin mines here, he's going to be in a good position. And at least keeping eyes on it with all these muskets and continuing to poke around is definitely going to help. But the military unit population is starting to really turn in favor of green, and that does continue to make me nervous.
Yep, and you know, a lot of that population is these Highlanders, which take up actually only 2 pop. They, by the looks of it, are not the same as Highlanders. They're Blackwatch, which take up significantly less population. Oh wow, I didn't know that. That's interesting. So his population is actually made up of, I thought they cost 6 pop each or something like. No, that's no, they've always cost 2 pop. I don't know. 6 pop is the outlaw style unit. Either way, the point I'm going to make is that, you know, most of his units are musketeers, which are, you know, musketeer style units, which are very easily brought down by these, you know, Cassadors and certainly the organ guns as well. So yeah, I think he had more military units. Not anymore.
Yeah, it's a little awkward. And he's actually got a pretty good switch over here to Vet Huss as well, which is going to help. And he's shipped 1,000 wood as well, so he's going to... Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, he shipped 5 Huss, and then he looks like he built 5 more. So, I mean, it's a nice transition. And all the while, he knows about this. He just had a musket over here, remember, patrolling that area. And although those vills did kill it, this is going to be a huge raid.
Big raid. In we come. Let's press the alt button. We can watch their health bars go down. The green units does have the Dragoons, and that's a little bit concerning in the sense that Dragoons do run faster than Hussars. He's going to be able to kill a lot of them, but by the looks of it, the number of villagers he has killed here. Mamelukes coming out, though. Haven't seen that shipment in a while. Very exciting, but it looks like he is now snared, and these Hussars, they represent 2,000 resources. Yes, he killed some villagers, but without any, sort of backup nearby, like a mass of musketeers to scare off these dragoons. That is 2,000 resources gone, and in the short term, that's much worse for red than it is really for green. Especially if he loses these 5 as well. Holy crap!
Those ones, Jesus, take the wheel. They got a little bit lost there on their journey. That
is tragic. That's absolutely disgusting. Look at that military unit population bar. It now looks like a green lightsaber with a red handle. It's not there. And these longbowmen, oh god, no, go back! Oh,
Jesus, take the wheel! Oh no, they're all gone.
They are. You're right.
This is gonna be really hard. And I mean, he's even got. Sometimes when you look at like Skirm Goon compositions, the one saving grace for it is you're like, oh well, they don't have a lot of siege potential. Right? They don't have a great way to pull down buildings, and I can buy myself some time with just structures and stuff like that. But with the 2 organ guns here in the mix, like these buildings are going to go down surprisingly quick, and things all of a sudden got really awkward here for red. He's starting to run out of resources. He still doesn't have a single market upgrade. I find that hard to believe, but it looks like it's true. Tech's complete.
He has a market, but yes,
he has a market, but no market upgrades. Hunting Dog says just hit the floor. Your fairly standard 1636 Hunting Dogs.
Yeah, absolutely, that
everyone knows that.
700
right?
coin church card into Hunting Dogs at 16 minutes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
to be fair though, he did have a bit of a weird agenda in the early game. I'm not sure if he's necessarily done that strategy before. And thinking about a market when you're trying to get up to the Fortress Age may have forgotten it. It is a mistake, absolutely, and it is going to hurt. But it could be understandable as to why he hasn't got that for so long. He's definitely going to be kicking himself in the foot about that. But the Mamelukes, yes, you only get 4 of them now on the ESOC patch rather than 5, but they're still Mamelukes, and those are still longbowmen. Brutal.
And it's still going to be an absolute slaughter this fight. A couple more longbows coming into the mix, but I mean, they're just going to tickle these Mamelukes, right? I mean, they're not. There's no way you can deal with this composition, and I think we'll see a resign here within the next 10 or 15 seconds.
I think you're right.
Yeah. It's all over but the crime.
It was in the 5 seconds.
It was within 5 seconds.
It absolutely was. That's the end of the game, though. Interesting strategy. I wonder if had that gone differently, perhaps did wait around with those musketeers. Perhaps could have gone in, maybe done some damage, but maybe that was always inevitable. This outcome, but could it have taken him off guard? If if you're really not expecting that, you're expecting British to go about what they always do, which is in the colonial age.
Yeah.
Could that have worked?
So I think the one big thing that we maybe didn't highlight. Well, we highlighted it, but it wasn't shown as much. It was the tower position, right? Because if you remember back to where the tower was, it was on the left side of this wall, in this kind of middle-ish choke section. And he originally had it considerably further up. He had it up almost like by where the native trading post is. And I think ideally he would have liked to have that as far forward as he could, so that he could immediately ship those Black Watch and immediately be standing on top of the economy. But that didn't end up happening. His outpost ended up being on the other side of the wall because the wall got completed early enough, and he ended up just throwing it down as a result. Didn't get, the very early jump on the aggression that maybe he was hoping for. Instead, had a siege down the wall, opted to wait for the cannons, and then by that time it was just a little bit too late, right? I mean, Mr. Brambway had been going with this fish idea since the very early part of the game. He bought himself enough time with the walls. To his credit, a really good stall tactic, and
especially on this map,
and then he just was able to get out enough stuff to deal with the pressure. And once a strategy like this has failed, it's so hard to recover from. Usually, when something like this fails, it fails spectacularly like this because. because I mean, standard play. I've said this before. Standard play is standard for a reason because it gives you
consistent.
It gives you safe, consistent ways to win games. And you know, it could be a cute way to win a game with these Black Watch, but if it doesn't work, if it doesn't pay off, your economy is very far behind, and you find yourself in a difficult position to recover from. And that's kind of what happened here. So,
yeah, I agree.
Props to him for trying, but didn't work out the way I think he was hoping it would.
Always nice to see something new on Smackdown, which is why I think A's is so valuable. I think certainly I'd call this an Azamp style strategy just because it's different and odd. Yeah. I think A's has earned that name, I think. Anyway, also, interestingly enough, I believe Red pointed out that you're actually supposed to get an early TP for that, obviously referring to the strategy that you did. I'd be interested to see how much better this would have performed with a faster shipment progression as a result of an extra trading post. It was a Fortress Age Orient strategy, certainly makes sense. I'm not sure if it would necessarily change the outcome, but I would like to see the power level of this sort of strategy with that trading post. Perhaps another time, though, that does conclude game number 2 in this best of 7 series. The score is currently 2-0 to Mr. Bramboy. That is the green player. Let's head on out into the third game.
Yeah, I saw some people at the start of this saying like, oh, like Wuangaga is gonna march all over Bramboy. It's gonna be 4-0. It's easy game, stuff like that.
Wow.
And so far,
not. Yeah.
So far, Mr. Bramboy showing up.
Yeah, going against expectations here, absolutely, if that is the case. But that statement is true. People saying there's going to be a stomp in Wongaga's favour. It definitely tells us Wuangaga has much more to give. So this series, by no means over. Stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to game number 3 in this best of 7 series between Mr. Bramboy and Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga.
I didn't want to make the same joke twice, so I stopped myself halfway through, but then I kind of had to go with it anyway, so never mind. But this time, Yukon, UI 2.06. So I believe the only changes to this are the UI. Absolutely. This is what we're using to bring this game to you with this wonderful piece of software that was developed by the community, by Azamk himself, the man. Big shout out to Azamk. Can we get some bleed purples in the chat for our resident cowhaxer? Absolutely. This map, though, a standard map. Not a Gaia map, a standard map. And a bloody one at that, as we often bring up. Limited hunts, and the hunts that are there are all in the middle of the map. And you start right at the back of the map. It is a fairly small map. And this basically means all of your buildings are going to be moving forward. There's not very much room to expand behind you. And as a result of that, an aggressive game. Well, yes. At least is something that is good to play, or have that in mind. And obviously the civilizations being selected here, they are both war chief civilizations, and traditionally war chiefs have always, well, not always, but certainly do have strong early game agendas, and I guess that's reflected by their choice of civilization is reflected in the map here. Let's start with Bramboy, though, in the south of the map in the color green, currently 2-0. We'll have to see if he can bring it up to 3-0, and then maybe 4-0. We shall see what Mr. Bramboy has in store for us with his Iroquois today. Absolutely. There he is, though, Mr. Bramboy, not starting with enough wood for a trading post. Worth pointing out, because this is ESOC patch, where Iroquois have been nerfed, and they do not have consistently enough wood to build a trading post at the very start of the game. Whether that was the right change or not remains to be seen, but I like the change personally. I think it is a good change. I do think that trading post was a bit strong for Iroquois, but Zuta might have a differing opinion. But there's, I guess, time to discuss. I guess there's plenty of time in the Discovery Age. But let's quickly introduce Red. Then we can have a look at what's going on. Having said that, though, I did want to just run up here and take a look at the treasures before we... big XP treasures at the moment. But maybe there'll be some conflict over the same treasure if they are all XP treasures, and perhaps the only treasure they actually want is maybe this one random wood treasure.
They are all randomly XP treasures. Look at 135 XP, 80 XP.
Oh, there's 40 wood up there.
160.
For a second, I thought that 40 wood was guided by 2 buffalo, but no, that's I was like, what the hell? I've never seen that treasure guardian before. But yes, Red in the north of the map in the color red. Wow. Interjection. Wow. Playing as the Sioux. Red in the color red. Well done. The Iroquois versus Sioux. What do we have here?
Yeah, this could be an interesting matchup. So like you mentioned right at the start, war chief civilizations are the only civs that consistently always get fast age up politicians, right? Because the war chief mechanically works a little bit different in terms of aging up. They have all of the age ups available to them, and then you can pick and choose which one you want to use to get to whichever age. Whereas like the European ones, right, they're very like static. Like Brits have these 2 politicians that you can choose from to go to the second age, and then these 4 to go to the next age, etc., etc., right? There's always a static politician, but the war chief civilizations can choose any of their available politicians, but they can only choose them once each. So because of that, all of the war chief civilizations do have that fast age up politician, and we'll have to see whether or not either player or maybe both players utilize that. Certainly Arrow's got that very strong early rush, which still is a thing. I mean, you can still age up very early. It will be slightly less effective because of the lack of the trading post, but you can still certainly play aggressively. Big button tomahawks are still a thing. 6 tomahawk shipments, 7 Iana, 4 Kanya horsemen, like lots of really strong, solid shipments coming out of a forward war hut. And similarly, Sioux does have some options to do aggressive war hut play as well. I mean, they could easily be doing something aggressively, and look at that. The messenger has already begun being researched by the Sioux. We'll see whether or not he's got something tricky up his sleeve, because it looks like he may very well.
A trading post coming down right off the bat there. Perhaps something tricky indeed. Is certainly aging up. We'll have to see exactly what that is he has in mind. Well, when he gets up there. With the aggressive stuff you were talking about, yes, you can still certainly do that as Iroquois, and arguably I'd say it's still going to be equally as strong, just in the early portion of the game. You're still going to get that first, second shipment out on time. That third shipment might be a bit slower, but still probably on time. You generate quite a lot of XP when you're being aggressive. And but after that, your shipment progression is going to slow down without that trading post. And I think that really is the problem. It's those shipments later on which allow you to switch perhaps back into economy quite easily by sending a 5 shipment, which is available to Iroquois, or sustain the pressure with constant military production. Because I've always thought, the Iroquois aggressive agenda is effectively like a fast fortress in the sense that they have so many different military unit shipments available to them that they can send, and with the lack of trading posts, it slows down a lot quicker. It doesn't stay up. It's still going to be equally as aggressive early on, but it's not going to sustain, and I think that might have been the problem. So it's interesting enough. But what does Red have in mind? He's definitely well up to the next stage. His first shipment will be arriving any second now. I don't see any forward village. Yes, I do. 3 forward.
It's going to be 700 wood.
700 wood. What is he going to lay down?
It's going to be a club rush. I can almost bet. I think we'll see 700 wood followed up by a very aggressively placed war hut. Yep, here it comes. And then I think he'll follow this up with either the 6 set and bow shipment or just like 7 clubs. He could just go straight clubs and try and like ram down the war hut very early. But Mr. Bramboy not going to fall into that trap, putting down a very defensive war hut. And aging up with the Wise Woman, it looks like he has semi-FF on his mind here. We can see quite a bit of coin being gathered, market playing much more economically. And this could be a little bit dangerous because the Sioux player has, with his 700 wood, constructed 2 trading posts, and now this war hut. He's going to have a lot of shipments, and so those military units are going to come out fast and hard here early in this game. And it could potentially be very difficult for Mr. Bramboy to defend this if he gets caught a little bit unaware, especially now that he sent 5 villagers as his first shipment.
Yeah, 5 villages, there it is, and they'll pay off, absolutely, definitely a very strong shipment, but with the pressure being ramped on by Lady Gaga here, it could be dangerous. They're not military units, and they're not instant resources, which can be military units. They are very slow and clunky, and they take a while to get going, and traditionally, yes, an aggressive agenda has always been very difficult to fend off with the fast fortress. 5 set and bow coming out. We'll take a look at what his next shipment is. It will be arriving any second now. But here, definitely 4 axe ride. These tomahawks are mincemeat. Those axe riders going to get up there very, very quick. Well, actually, maybe they're going to get away here. I thought for that 4 axe riders, insane shipment. Each unit 200 resources each. Yes, most of it is food, so it's not quite as good as 4 hussars, but certainly could get them up, attack the tomahawks, slow them down, get them all snared so they can't really escape. And you've got 5 seat and bow, which have multipliers versus these tomahawks. He could still do that, but perhaps missed an opportunity. No, he's going to come in here. There is a war chief there. That is worth pointing. Holy crap! What? That special attack did an absolutely huge amount of damage. Oh no, he's using it now.
There he goes. Oh man, just
Wow.
look how dirty.
It's
that
disgusting.
is.
Like it's on the same power level as the units I get to play in the campaign, and I'm really familiar with the campaign. I do a lot of the speedrunning, right? That's how disgusting that ability is.
So good. But behind this, Mr. Bramboy is still trying to age, and he doesn't have the resources required to age just yet. I think he'll be okay because there's mostly set bows, and it looks like they're going to be backpedaling here a little bit. But he's still trying to age up. We can see he needs about another 200 food to really get aged up. And I'm actually somewhat disappointed for the Sioux player that he didn't just go really hardcore club rush. Because I think if he would have just hardcore club rush, like if all these set bows had been clubs and he had shipped 7 clubs here as his next card instead of 4 villagers, I mean, imagine just like 20 clubs sieging down this warlord right now. What would Green realistically be able to do?
Pray.
Yeah, pray.
Build a church. Oh wait, you can't do that as this civ.
Adopt a religion or something. Like, he'd be in a tough spot. Plus, I also want to point out, I've mentioned I hate this so much. Like this is just asking to get pop capped, right? Like if there's a club rush coming, and this, especially on this map, like I mean, if we scroll up through the chat, he said like, please don't club rush me. He knows it's a viable option, right? He's well aware at the start of the game that a club rush could be coming, and he still builds this house out in the middle of nowhere. It just bothers me.
Yeah, perhaps needed the population desperately in the early portion of the game when he was scouting like a pro with his Travois. Just slam that down. Didn't want to get pop blocked. But yes, you're absolutely right, and hopefully it won't be discovered for him. But equally, I think it's about to be discovered. Yeah, it absolutely is. Looks like Green is. Did I just see the age up? Yes, I did. He is now up to the next age, and has now got access to military shipments. And he has got his 5 thingy-mabobs out here. If he can stack that with his first shipment, he stands a fighting chance. But absolutely, if these things had been just blitzed down, full smocked. Yeah. Whoa, boys! Oh, Morgan.
Wow,
Black.
that was actually an insane crack shot.
Yeah. Monstrous.
Oh, that was so satisfying. Of course, if you're the Sioux player, it's so frustrating.
He's literally like a guy with like a falconet on his back and just like flops it over every now and again, just launches this cannon out. Like that's basically what it is here. He's up to the next stage, neutralized the colonial units, which died pretty quickly there, especially when the crack shot went off. He could pull this off. Looks like he's going to get away with it. I think he's safe now at this point. And he's had those 5 villagers working all this time. Economy is actually it's not quite as good. I guess during the age up he missed a couple of villagers, and of course Red, by the looks of it, has sent villagers too. 4 villagers rather than 5. Interesting.
Yeah. There is the age up going down for Red there though right now. So the unfortunate thing.
But why would he send 4 villagers, not 5? Perhaps he doesn't have in his deck. Sorry.
But Sioux only
oh
has...
yes, all right. I know this. I thought for some reason he had the same options as Iroquois, which he
Sioux.
Yeah.
Poor Sioux, destined to only ever have a 4 villager ship. Kind of like Dutch. Like it just doesn't make a lot of sense why some civs like randomly don't get 5 and 4, but whatever. But Red is aging up. He's about 66% of the way. It is taking him a fairly long time, just due to the fact that he used his fast age to get to the second age. And so he's forced to use the Wise Woman, and losing a couple of villagers there, going to lose all this infrastructure. It's going to be difficult for him to recover. He doesn't really have the wood or the resources to repopulate these buildings, and that could be very problematic for him. He's got a lot of trading posts up, so he's going to have like a lot of XP to be able to ship units. I mean, take a look at his shipments right now, right? He's got 2 cards available for him when he does age up, but that's not going to be nearly as sustainable as the war huts and stuff like that. So he needs to defend that, and actually maybe he just got away with a very lucky situation there where his opponent just maybe made a little bit of a mistake, didn't finish sieging the war hut.
Yeah, it's got like what, 157 HP, just one more round of volleys there. Didn't see any real reason to get back.
Yeah, I'm actually a little bit confused why he went back as well. I mean, maybe he was waiting for his next shipment. He did get his 6 Kanya horsemen. He also did get the upgrade for it, but I don't know if that was enough reason to pull
It could have been just a simple mistake, you know, like pressing your control group and right-clicking in the wrong place or thinking it was dead or something like that. For whatever reason, it's not dead, and red is going to get absolutely away with that. It might hit the repair button on that as well. It's very, very cheap to repair. In fact, it's half the cost to repair. Either way, has now just trained him 5 extra Wakina rifles and has acted as a shipment point, which, you know, is going to speed up this incoming pressure, because otherwise they'd have to spawn at the town center, and that's quite slow, and Clons have to walk all the way up here. But we do see the Canyon Horsemen coming in, trying to get very close to these Wakina, doing a nice job. But there are some bow riders there. Unfortunately, bow riders are bow riders, and don't have quite as much ranged attack as perhaps Dragoons do. Actually, they do have quite high ranged attack. This is different now, this patch is now. Well, they certainly have less HP than they did before. That's something there. And here, the green unit's doing work.
Yeah, oh, dog soldiers still coming out from the backside. Could be good. Going to get right up in the face.
Especially with only a couple musket riders there left to counter them. These things, monstrous amount of hit points, 687. Going to be able to do some work here. Scaring, of course, look at these green units. They've been walking, not shooting there. Does kind of even up a bit, but still, there's a lot of green stuff here. And dog soldiers doesn't appear to be quite enough.
It looks like he's going to be just fine. And unfortunately, the war hut did not get repaired, and so that's going to be very easy for him to clean up, and then immediately work back onto the corral here as well. Things all of a sudden starting to look fairly grim once again for red, and I think it comes down to just the positioning of the Kanye. They got in a good spot, got right on top of the Wakinas, and the Forest Prowler control was just good enough that he was able to get in a good position and win the fight. And now War Hut down onto the corral, and Sioux once again going to be in a tough spot here moving forward if he loses all of his infrastructure. He still has the trading post advantage going for him.
He does.
But that's not going to be sustainable enough here, especially as he starts to run out of resources back home.
Yep, true. And look at that population graphic. Definitely in favor of green for... Well, I thought I was going to say economy there. I was actually wrong. It's actually very even. Never mind. But he does have more military.
Yeah, and not only does he have more military...
He definitely does now.
Yeah, especially with the Kanye shipment coming. But his units are also arguably stronger, right? Like, Forest Prowlers are just innately better than Wakinas, and I don't know, the Axe Riders don't have upgrades, the Kanyes do. All of the units for green are upgraded, only some of them are upgraded for red, so this is going to be a little awkward. I don't know that I'm super in favor of him, like, sieging down all these trading posts. Yes, it's good to kill the trading posts, but I don't know that I would want to be sieging with everything, especially on a map like this close, where it's going to be fairly certain that there's going to be spots like this that exist somewhere that he can pressure, right? All of the hunts and the coin mines in the base are going to be cleaned up at this point, and there's almost certainly going to be somewhere where you can apply some pressure elsewhere on the map. And sieging these trade posts down is as good as it might be. It does give your opponent time to reestablish things like this war hut and rebuild your corral. Whereas if you would have just maybe immediately pressed the issue, you could have stopped that dead in its tracks.
Yep, true. But still, looks like he has enough force to... well, Red's sort of come back. You're absolutely right. Could have just waltzed in here and sort of smoked down these buildings whilst there wasn't really anything to be defendable. Ooh. Oh, wow. That's not a good position for Red. We might even see the GG there. Because without the Wakina, against these Musket Riders, he's really got nothing. And there are very little numbers here. And now... Oh, goodness me. There's a Dog Soldier pop.
Yeah. And is that the one from the it's from the Dog Soldier like research tech, but I don't think it's going to be quite enough. They did get in a good position to kill many of these Forest Prowlers.
If they'd been here a second sooner to or just moments sooner to get in the way of the units to going for the light skirmisher style unit, could have been different, but I don't know. There were still a lot of green units there. There's the Resign. GG coming from Bramboy. The score is 2-1 now. Bramboy losing his first match. Still ahead in this series, but the Red is bringing it back.
No, that's 3-0, right? Like, Bramboy's up 3-0.
Oh, wait. Whoops. Wrong way around. Forgive me.
Yeah, Bramboy takes the win. And, he's up to match point, actually.
It is up to match point. Not bringing it back at all. I was just testing you. I was just trolling.
It's a trap. You're just making sure I'm paying attention. I'm not sleeping.
Yeah. Whoops.
ZutaZuta, wake up.
I'm going to take a quick look at the post-game military unit population. People always ask me to do this, and if I don't, they get... Yeah. Anyway, see you in a moment for the next match. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the perhaps final game of this series. Mr. Bramboy versus Gaga.
We're still not quite sure how to say his name.
Well, I can, when I'm clicking in, it always covers up player 2's name, so I don't have something to read. So I have to go by memory, and I'm not too good at remembering names, especially this person's name. And as a result of that, I did not have a model to read and make words out of with, I suppose. Starting, though, in the... This is quite... Well, perhaps this is the correct colour to be playing on this map. Because you camouflage in to the red background. The painted desert tile set with these little shrubs looks wonderful on high graphics. You never get to see these shrubs, which, by the way, are 3D models that have shadows. Objectively better graphics than Age of Empires 2. I'm joking. But we do have lots of shrubs in the south of the map in the colour red. Actually, they're green. But we do have a China player, that's the relevant thing here. Always going to be starting with 300 wood, and I suspect we'll be seeing some villages out of him. No trading post shenanigans from him. Will we see trading post shenanigans from the Sioux player, though? Probably not.
What did he start with? You didn't tell me how much wood he started with. Which confused me.
I looked at red to start with. I looked at the shrubs to start with, and then started talking about 3D models and shadows. So yes, I did actually miss it. Insightful and useful as always, Interjection's commentary. But 70 food from the sweet potatoes there. They have been discovered. It doesn't look like he's going to be going for a trading post. I believe he started with 100 wood and he's left it all on the floor.
Yeah, it looks like it. And that's going to be no trading post early in the game, which, I mean, it's perfectly fine. He could chop 100 wood, but looks like he's going to opt to not do that. Instead, just going to prioritize his age up, and we'll probably see him gather that up and maybe make a trading post in transition or something like that.
Yeah, and that's a nice time to do it, right? If he did it now, it does slow you down quite a lot. Would a slow gathering resource? Yes, you don't have to build houses as Sioux, but it does delay your age up, and perhaps he's going to be valuing that fast age up with the age up fast politician. I suspect we'll be seeing that out of the Sioux player, though it is possible, I suppose. It's ESOC patch, we can see other things.
Yeah, potentially could. I think this is an interesting matchup just in general because, in general, speaking very broad terms, one of China's, kind of weaknesses is civs that do really well reinforcing with large amounts of cavalry, heavy cavalry. And part of the reason why that is, right, is because they can't prioritize making only anti-cavalry. If you think about banner armies, you always have to be making, one unit or the other. And so by making a stable and popping out 10 population of strictly cavalry units at a time, it can be very difficult to reciprocate that 10 population in anti-cavalry units for China at any given time, especially once their shipments 9 Quang pikemen, 11 Changdao swordsmen, if you're in the third age, stuff like that. Once those shipments start running out, then it can be kind of challenging to match just a pure cavalry spam with enough anti-cav to survive. And if you take a look at what Sioux does really well, they're a very cavalry-focused civ. They have very strong cavalry, and almost certainly in the third age, we're going to see stuff like dog soldier shipments, axe riders, vet axe riders, a whole slew of cavalry units just in general. And so I think that makes for kind of an interesting dynamic in this game, and we'll see whether or not that plays out. I do expect this game to go to the third age. I do expect FFs or semi-FFs out of both players, and we'll see whether or not that ends up holding true. It looks like Mr. Bramboy clicked his way on up, gathering wood, and we'll see whether or not he gets that trading poster we were talking about earlier.
He's clicked up? Ah, there it is, yes. The Chief. Going to be going up with some resources, I believe that is what it gives you.
Yep, I think it's 400 wood.
That's quite nice. Certainly going to be very useful for the semi-FF style. Get some buildings down. But, wait, what? Hold on. Oh, yes. Actually, never mind. I do remember what I was going to say. About the cavalry. I remember as a new player, I was playing China for the first time, and my friend Blair, back in Nation of Warriors, thought that it would be funny to just make nothing but hussars versus me. And China's anti-cav, as you said, especially in H2, definitely not very good. He beat me with just hussars, and I was kind of frustrated and thought it was rather dumb. But yes, we do see now Red has clicked up to the next age as well. He is going to be going up with the Summer Palace. Usual things coming out of China here. Definitely going to be expecting that fast fortress agenda. China statically usually always do that. I'm not sure if their colonial age play is even good in ESOC patch. Probably not. But definitely very, very capable of massing a ton of units, and definitely always excited to see China play because of all of these big, lots of units, and you know that is similar to Spain, I suppose, on vanilla, which, as I say far too often, is indeed my favourite civilization. First shipment, though, will be arriving any second now for the green player. Probably going to be 700 coin, right, for the age up.
Yeah, I mean, so he's... what I'm more curious to see is what he's going to do here. It looks like he's positioning himself to build a second trading post, and here comes that 400 wood. And so he's built a market, and let's take a look at... he's got hunting dogs, and so sitting on nuts for resources otherwise across the board. I think we'll see him just drop down that trading post, and then perhaps a stable as well, and then we'll see where he goes from there. Maybe he even just drops down... Oh no, look at this. This is kind of interesting. He's dropping down a forward war hut. Looks like he's got some other ideas. Maybe a club.
I actually thought he was already aged up because of the age up fast politician, which for some reason I was like 700 coin. I'll be here any second, but actually no, he hadn't even aged up. So never mind that. Yeah, something entirely different here. 4 villages. Laying that down, notably the most amount of villages you can use to make that particular building. Wants that up in a hurry, or maybe they're just going to continue. Maybe just sending over there to gather food. Who knows? But either way, going to be up quickly, and it's not a fortress age agenda here. In fact, has 2 trading posts, and that's certainly a forward war hut. Perhaps we'll see a couple units out. Maybe some sort of semi-pressure. I mean, you can certainly. I feel like that is an option that is good versus China. Get some pressure on early, especially when I play France. Some pressure on early. Delay their age up, cause them a bit of trouble whilst they don't have military units, and then you go up to the fortress age, follow them up with a slightly stronger economy compared to most civs that do naked FF. But 700 coin, no doubt about that. That's indeed what China's doing, naked FF. We'll have to see what green does. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to play too aggressive here. I feel like if he was going to play aggressively, the war hut would be a little bit further forward, and he would be prioritizing making some units. I mean, he's got a couple clubs out here.
He's made quite a lot of trading posts, which...
Yeah. And I think we're more likely just to see him pick up all of the trading posts. Maybe he'll poke in with, oh, well, as I say that, here comes a 7 club shipment, and it looks like he may be going to go a little harder here. What I was going to say is that maybe he'll just, ship 700 coin as his next card, and just, like, kind of feint some sort of aggression with these clubs. But it looks like, as you mentioned, looks like he's just going to commit to age 2 play here.
Well, there's a market going up there. That's certainly going to be annoying. Definitely would take that out. Take out any building in construction there. That could be a little bit of a problem if he doesn't have a market. Certainly no upgrades, but equally, you do often find yourself in a spot where, if I had 100 extra gold, I'd get 4 more units out here rather than 1. Yeah. And that's certainly something. A villager going to go down as well, and that village is taking a little bit of damage. He has lots of siege units here in China, rather vulnerable to having a lack of population, especially in the fortress age where they want to be sending lots of military unit shipments, and absolutely has the potential to tear through this building. Smokes in the chat, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and on top of that, he doesn't have enough coin just yet to call both sets of Minutemen. So if he calls Minutemen, he's only going to have the ability to
doesn't have a market to sell the food for it either.
And now, there's even more stuff coming in here. He's gonna get all sorts of awkward. He's nearly aged up, but wow, that's
Is he just going to siege the tower? It's not going to stop him aging up. You can kill it, and it will stop them aging up, but it doesn't regress them in age up as you deal damage to it, obviously. But I've only ever seen it die once. I feel like this is not a good idea, especially now that there are units killing his units. Stop immediately, Bramboy.
Yeah, it's so all in.
Is he just gonna smork it down? Just full smork, and then just stop him from. Yeah, it was absolutely not going to stop him from aging up. Like, you do age up reasonably quickly.
The thing is, he could have been killing, like, villagers and stuff on top of that. Yeah. He could have even, like, been... I would have loved to see him just bounce over here and start killing this village as well. I think that would have been even smarter. He has killed a couple of villagers here, and the resource herding hasn't been great out of the Chinese player. Take a look at where his hunts are. Like, his hunts are way far out front, and now they're setting by standing on top of where he needs to be gathering resources. Still a little bit awkward, and I do like this much more. The fact that he's going for villages more than the porcelain tower. Look at the amount of siege he wasted on the porcelain tower. If those 2,000 plus hit points had been, on a village or something like that, or consulate even, like, could have gotten a lot more value out of that pressure.
Worth pointing out that it was during construction, so I'm not actually sure if age-up buildings take ×4 during construction. But...
No, I don't think they do.
Oh, okay, there is that. But yes, could have been doing other things, but imagine if it had worked, Zoo. It's hard to gauge how much damage you're doing, but if he'd killed that, like... I think the resources get refunded, but even still, he would just be sat dead in the water. It would have been great.
Was so awkward.
It was ambitious, didn't pay off, but still in a good spot, I think. But now that China is up, we'll start to see. Perhaps China is going to come back from this. Let's turn the population graphic on, though, so I can take a look at that. In terms of quite even at the moment. Yeah. Perhaps, certainly would be much further ahead if he had gone for those villages. But if it worked,
do consider the trading post as well. That's one thing that
okay, he's actually quite... There's 4 trading posts fully upgraded. You're absolutely right. That economy is actually much better than red.
But he is still Sioux in the second age, which is awkward as hell to start with. And, China is going to be China here. You still can't deny the fact that China in age 3 has got some very strong shipments and potentially could, do quite a bit. But even more...
here, though.
That's not good for Red, is it?
No, but still is China, and as you just said, has the potential to squeeze a lot of shipments out of his cavity of the... never mind.
From the backside.
Yes, that's where they come from. But did lose a couple villages during transition, and they were a bit belled up and all of that stuff. And is one village down, so he's going to have to repair that, and that's obviously going to slow his unit progression down. Did lose those units there, which is bad for him as well, but I'm still expecting stuff from China.
I think we're going to see a big bust here from Sioux. I think he's going to get like 10 more clubs out from these 2 war huts, and then I expect him to push out across the map. He doesn't want to wait too long and allow China to stabilize off too many shipments. Sioux does have a shipment available for himself as well. He could maybe send something like 2 dog soldiers and then make 10 clubs and then just ram it all in there and hopefully have the military unit population to knock him down. Take a look at the military unit population right now, 51 versus 22. He wants to make sure he gets in there and applies some pressure before the Chinese player gets too many shipments out and starts to catch back up in that regard.
Worth pointing out, China does not have a trading post, which means his shipments aren't going to be as perhaps consistent as I was making out, but still going to have a lot of stuff. Green, though, does have 4 of them. Well, upgraded, actually. So, and a fire pit.
Back here? Yeah, what's going on back here? What are all these lads dancing?
These lads and ladies.
Yeah, what are they dancing for?
Fertility? I'm not sure.
That doesn't make too much sense. Like, is he just prepping them to be on war dance for when he goes in?
Perhaps he's waiting. Maybe he's waiting for an upgrade, and just wants to squeeze the last bit of XP out. Is that possible?
I'm not sure actually what he's doing, and he just shipped 15 bison as his next card, which isn't horrible. I don't like the fact that it came up to his forward war hut. It would obviously be much better back home, but I feel
maybe that's what they were doing. Just waiting for the bison to arrive, and whoops.
And then oops, he's on the wrong side.
Yeah. Well,
I feel like he's wasting time here, though. I feel like he definitely
the Chinese army has come together, and many people have been amassed in defense of the China land.
Yeah.
So, but there's a lot of green stuff here still, and he has had 4 trading posts working this entire time, so he's capable of possibly matching the Chinese. We'll have to see how this fight goes. There is a lot of green units, but a lot of them are clubmen and Seatambo, which are not particularly strong.
Yeah, and everything just kind of caught out of position here. The War Club's doing a good job of soaking up some of the damage on the front. And realistically, the Arquebusiers don't really have anything to shoot at. We can see, there's just nothing for them to shoot at. They're
diving hawk.
Shooting, they're just shooting at Battle Hawk, which is wasting so much. So much.
750 HP.
Both the Explorers running some pretty significant interference there.
Yeah, nice to see them being used in the fight. Obviously, don't want that left at home. They represent so many HP, especially that Chinese guy. Oh dear, there's a couple of red units. He doesn't see them though, fortunately for green. More Changdao popping out. I'm telling you, China finds their units from somewhere.
Yeah,
And Green
this
looks
is
pretty
good.
caught here, yeah.
Yeah, he's out of position really bad, and the remaining arquebusiers.
Oh wow, just getting absolutely spanked. I think got a little bit ahead of himself. Thought I won that fight nice and convincingly. I'm gonna step forward here and do some damage, but actually does get caught by the shipment. There's the intervention. Is it intervention or is it just a regular badge of redcoat? Either way, GG China and their cavity of the anal variety, ladies and gentlemen. That's a lot of units.
And that's how quickly it goes, like from looking like, oh, like Green's great, he's in a perfect position to
scary.
To like, oh, looks like China just dumpstered you. Now I can't win.
This only just came together, right? The Minutemen and that shipment and the Redcoats and bringing all things in and this village that he popped them at. He did have a lot of units waiting around, and just when that bison was arriving and we were discussing why these villagers gathering, he had a window of opportunity to do some damage. Before these shipments and things got in, could do, fight the Red Army, or at least, maybe force them to fight a little bit, weaken it a bit before there's so many units. And obviously, it's much easier to fight units when there's less of them. You can quote that as well, chat.
Yeah, look at the military unit population. Like, so he wins. He kills those. He kills the first units after that fight at like 10-ish minutes. Gets a nice advantage, and like around. Well, so around like 10 or so minutes, he kills the army. And then around like 10:40 to 11 minutes, he's still working with a 25-30 military unit population for basically that whole time. And I don't know, I'm a bit confused why he didn't go in and attack them. And then look at the second he actually decides to go in, just look at the pop right at 12:48.
Plummeted into oblivion.
Yes, so much stuff just like comes pouring out for red and just gets caught out in a bad spot, and he just takes a huge nosedive right off the edge of that proverbial world that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, that's quite something. That does, though, ladies and gentlemen, conclude Saturday Smackdown for another week. Do leave a like on the video if you're watching this on YouTube. Do follow the channel. We are here.
No, one to go.
Wait,
one to go.
Oh, wait, why am I getting this wrong all the time? It is now. It's now 3-1. It's not the end of Saturday Smackdown, but you can still follow the channel. You can still do these things. We are live every. What am I doing? What am I even doing? I know how am I getting
dyslexia? You've got player dyslexia.
Color dyslexia. Something like that. There's something going on here. Yes, it's not over. Red wins this game. Yes.
Color dyslexia.
Yes, but as I was trying to say, we do this every single week over on Saturdays. Saturday over on Age of Empires. Twitch.tv/Age of Empires. Starts at 1 p.m. PST. That is 9 p.m. GMT British time. And I'm afraid I don't know the other time zones because those are the ones that me and Zuta use. So we just happen to know those. That's absolutely right. Though there won't be, for those of you who are regular viewers, there won't be as many over the Christmas sort of break. Just use your head. If it's like Christmas Eve or Christmas something like that, then we probably, or New Year's something, or what's you might call it, we probably won't be live. But yes, let's head out into game number 5. I thought it was over. I was getting sad, but no, there is more.
Got one. We got at least one more. One more to go.
All right. Could be a reversal sweep. You never know. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another game in this best of 7 series between Mr. Bramboy and Lady Gaga. We do have game number 5, perhaps the start of a reverse all sweep. Of course, Wuangaga was 3 games down. It was match point. Bramboy looked like he had that in the bag for the most part, but China does pull it out, and we see the score being 1 in favor of, 3 in favor of green, actually. 1 to... I can actually use these scoreboards, can't I? How do you actually make them work?
Yeah, you have to like click right underneath them, and then like a hidden thing pops up, and then you have to type the number.
Oh no, there's little check boxes. What are you talking about?
You can't use the checkbox system.
Can't you? Why not?
Yeah, you can't poke on. Oh, what the hell? You can click on the number.
Yeah, but not the checkbox. Makes
not
sense,
the checkbox.
Right?
Oh my god, I feel like such a retard now because like the first time I used this thing, I spent so long like clicking on the checks, like the actual like box, like a normal human being would, right? Like trying to like make the box go. I didn't realize you like had to do the number. I spent a good like minute trying to click on these boxes the first time.
Well, they are check boxes, and that's logically what you tick. I think actually in Age of Empires 3 it's always that you click on the text, not the box. If you think about when you go to a drop-down menu and select the AI for the opponent's civilization, and when you pick something in the scenario editor. But A's probably just put an image of a checkbox in there just to make it look neat and tidy, I presume. I don't really know the technicalities of it, but that's definitely a very easy mistake to make. I can see that. Yeah, I was clicking on the boxes. I was trying to work that out. But it's nice that A's even put a scoreboard in here. It's something I haven't shown off to this until right now, actually. I knew it was there. I just always forget to use it. I don't have that luxury. Normally, with the old version, we have to either edit one in or use, special things on our broadcasting software.
Use like an overlay.
Yeah,
this is definitely much better. Yeah. Plus, it keeps track like of the sides for you, and like the colors like automatically update and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So like the players change colors and like automatically just.
And it shifts the position. So if green's on the left-hand side of the map, as you alluded to, green will be on the left-hand side of the scoreboard. It's very, very clever. I don't know how we managed to. Ace is a genius. Let's just put that out there. Can we get some bleed purples in the chat for Azam? All of these things, and I think it really has to be said because the amount of time, start to finish, that this had put into it was monstrous. And I saw the early versions back like 2 years ago, which were hilarious compared to this, but still absolutely insane at the time.
We thought they were so good at the time.
But you show us this 2 years later. If you'd shown that to me then, I would have thought, nah, they must have somehow decided to. They noticed there was a scene on Twitch or something. They wanted to make something. I thought it would have been official if you'd shown me this 2 years ago. This is so professional, and I know I talk about it a lot, but it's great.
Rightfully so. Yeah.
Yeah. So big shout out to Azamp there for making this. But we do have our 5th game in this series, starting. In the left-hand side of the map, in the colour green, we do have Germany. Looks like he's laid down a market there. No doubt his first shipment will be 2 settler wagons. The red player is playing as Japan in the right-hand side of the map and is currently gathering from cherry orchards and berries. Let's start with the consulate and is laying down, of course, shrines. Looks like he's going to be picking himself from a 95 wood treasure. It's a pretty good treasure for Japan.
So good for Japan. We can also see he's already shipped Heavenly Kami. Basically, that's just a free shrine, right? 95 wood, combined with the consulate and the shrine card. 75 wood shrines, picking that up. He's going to immediately
lay it down on top of the building where they got the wood from. Yeah.
I'm not so sure about that. I think he could have just gone a little bit further to the left.
Yeah, he was too excited about his free shrine. He had to throw it down right there. But I'm not sure if it can attract gold mines and trees, so we'll see how.
The gold mine like slowly inches closer.
Edges close, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Like in ancient mythology, there's a unit that can eat gold mines and it heals itself.
Yeah, the Colossus.
Yeah,
right?
I think that's wonderful. Like that should be a mechanic in this game. It shouldn't, but it should.
It shouldn't because so you can get away with so much more stuff when you're like operating under the realm of like mythology, right?
Yeah.
I don't think there was ever a historical point in like the 1700s where like some German guy randomly just decided to start eating coins. Like, I'm gonna eat.
It feels like that's what settler wagons do, though. So.
But to be fair, they do. Like now they've got that little cart, right? That they like drag around behind them, and they just load up all their coins into that little cart.
They do, and they somehow transport back to the town centre by Age of Empires 2 logic, which is by extension still Age of Empires. Anyway. Lots of shrines going down in both, in the north and south location. Germany is aging up. Red player is aging up. This is Japan versus Germany, which is definitely an interesting matchup. Germany has one hell of a power spike, and when they get up to the Fortress Age, and Japan, they're going to have to hold that. What is this matchup, Zuta? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so this is a matchup that I've actually played so much with Mido, and originally I used to be so back maybe a year or two ago, more people were playing like the more crossbow age 2 focused style with fewer trading posts, and I was winning almost every game in this matchup just because I had it figured out. I knew how to beat crossbow pike really, really well, and the fast fortress based play that people were trying usually didn't involve trading posts, and so German's power spike just came a little bit slower and it wasn't as scary, and you could just get your economy under your feet and be perfectly fine. That's not so much the case. Most people are very aware of the fact that the trade post is integral to Germany's early game, and especially their power spikes in the early third age allows them to get out a lot more shipments. Makes them that much more powerful. And as a result, I've kind of flip-flopped on this. I think this can actually be a fairly difficult matchup for Japan if Germany plays his early game correctly. And so far, everything has looked pretty on point here for Mr. Brandboy. He's got the stable down. He's going to be applying a little bit of pressure. He's got a good economy going. He's got his market down, and he's importantly got that trading post up nice and early, which is going to be allowing him to propel those shipments as he gets into the next stage. The one other thing that I think is kind of a cute thing to do with these two Ulans, I don't like that these Ulans are explicitly running across the map. I'd love for them to be searching out and trying to find these guys, looking for the monks. And it looks like maybe that's what he's doing here. He's got one of them caught here. But if you can stop those, look at the timing of this, right? The 600 wood has just arrived. Ideally, those monks are running around, dropping down even more shrines. If you can kill them both with these starting two Ulans, you're going to find yourself in a really nice position because the monks just aren't going to be able to drop down as many shrines. Yeah. And as a result, can find yourself even further ahead economically. Does lose one of the Ulans, but does pick up one of the monks and slow down the progression for the Japanese player a little bit. So, like that.
Absolutely true. 600 wood, that is absolutely what Japan wants to be doing. Laying down the shrines everywhere. And these two Ulans, it's worth pointing out, there's only two of them. They're not actually that good at killing villagers. Yes, Ulans have a lot of base attack and are very strong against villagers, but you kind of want to be waiting for that batch of 5 that he no doubt will be popping. Actually, there's only 3 just came out. There they are. There'll be no doubt, perhaps. Maybe they're looking for Japan monks as well.
They're definitely looking for this other monk.
But you only get 2 of them, so good news definitely to find the monks, which are much easier to kill than villagers near a town center.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, and I mean this is a smart place to be looking, right? I mean that's a very logical place for the monk to be. Unfortunately, he's working his way down here. He may run into him building this shrine, but it looks like, I mean, he's up at 150 shrine pop, so it's not like losing his monk here would be the end of the world. We can even see he's actively searching for him, and it looks like he'll see him now.
He's found him. He's gonna get, he's definitely gonna get that up. But yes, obviously Brandboy looking on the mini map. He can see in certain locations, you can kind of tell that there are 4 animals standing still in a strange grid square shape that they wouldn't naturally do. Obviously, you can't see the shrine, but you can see the animals, and it's worth noting you can click on animals and see the food going down more, and you can know that there are villagers there. You can kind of work out where the shrines are, and obviously that was Brandboy was doing by sort of looking in this location over there. That's what he's been doing though with his Ulans. Has sent 3 settler wagons, obviously a monstrously good shipment. I say this a lot, possibly the best colonial age shipment. 6 villagers into the 700 coin for the age up. And if we switch over to text being researched, no doubt there it is, the exiled prince politician going up to the fortress age, and we're going to get that strong German power spike incoming with all of the free Ulans you get in the very strong 4, the big 4, H2O calls them, the unit shipments. Not too nice here, those low HP cavalry walking through these musketeer-style units, which are sort of switching into hand combat here. Needs to switch them back now, could have got a few extra shots in there. Unfortunately, loses some of the HP on these units, and really, you want to be stacking these up, as we say a lot, get that veterancy upgrade and really make the most out of these. But Japan, obviously 600 wood, lots of shrines going down, 4 villages behind that to really make that economy nice. That brings you up to date with the plays so far. But the pressure will be coming thick and fast from Germany with their shipments and their free Ulans and their very, very, very strong economy and the trading post they've had for a long time. It's going to be very, very brutal, and it's always big. Can he stand the pressure? I love these kind of matchups where one player is established as having to destroy the other with this power spike, and one is playing defensively on the back, and has equal chances of winning, but close to equal. Perhaps there are slight differences in the matchups you alluded to at the start. Here though, dear. Yeah,
caught a little bit out of position. Skirm's coming just in the nick of time. Going to be able to run interference against those Ashes. To be perfectly fair, killing a decent number of Ulans for his exchange here, which, like you mentioned, and as I've said many times before, you really want to keep as many Ulans alive as you possibly can. Just because once you do get that veterancy upgrade for them, they turn into just a completely different unit. They're just absolutely monstrous. And so, any of those Ulans that he did kill before getting that veterancy upgrade is going to be very beneficial to him. If we take a look here, he's trying to age up. We can see the Golden Pavilion going up back here, but I don't know whether or not this is going to be successful. Crossbows are hung out to dry. They are on the wrong side of the building wall.
Oh, ouchie. That's not pretty. Atonement just arriving as well. What on earth does that do? I'm not even sure. Let's find out.
It's the thing that allows you to create Yojimbo.
What?
Do you know what the Yojimbo is?
I've never heard of it, Yojimbo.
It's like a Japanese specific mercenary.
Oh, that's probably why then. Is it?
Yeah.
What can we expect out of that then?
It's like a super dragoon kind of type thing. I'll
probably recognize it when it hits the board, and I'll be like, oh yeah. Yes, this other word that you didn't know that I've been calling it for all my life.
Yeah, we can see the monasteries coming up. He's going to try and train them, but this just feels like I've been defeated, like you've already killed me type play out of. Well, I don't know. Like I mean, they are very good anti-cavalry units, and he certainly is going to need anti-cavalry now that there's that additional 9 Ulans on the floor.
I mean, the units in queue. I'm waiting for the Yojimbo to pop
Yeah,
up.
he has to be in the 3rd age. He has to be in the next age.
Okay.
They're like an age 3 specific thing.
All right.
But I expect when he gets aged up, we'll see one immediately.
There. Oh, I know this unit. I know the pick. Yes, I'm aware of that one. I didn't know it was called a Yojimbo, but yeah.
He's got.
He had that was. Is it?
That's a Waku horseman, I think. That's not.
That's not a Yojimbo.
one.
Okay,
Yeah.
maybe I'm still unaware of the Yojimbo. Well,
maybe I'm thinking of a different.
either way, that's a lot of cavalry.
Yeah.
And
Oh my god.
fairly exposed, fleshy, softy, spongy,
Everything.
squishy
Villages.
thingies. Yeah.
Yumis. Oh my goodness. That's an absolute mess.
It's like he's slicing through butter, you know. He's just like slashing at the. I don't even know what to say at this point. It's not even funny.
it's just dirty.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of Elon. So how was your day, Zuta?
Well, better than this Japanese guy. Can you imagine?
Oh, wow! Is this gonna save him, Zuta?
Oh, it is Yojimbo.
The repentant Yojimbo.
Yeah.
Huh. Well,
It's
they did not last long.
Well, I mean, they're really strong. If you look at they had like 40 attack with a 2x multiplier against Cav. Like they would do really well against Ulan, but unfortunately they take forever to train, and you can only get like 3 of them at a time. They're really, really expensive. So
Are you gonna be seeing any more of those? It's their training spot. Is
Yep.
rip.
But that is, I can almost assure you that is going to be the end of the game. Like there's 9 Yumis, which fortunately or unfortunately, depending on which side you're cheering for. Oh my god, just look at it. It's just an absolute massacre.
You know when I said when you add units to a fight, you get this exponential curve increase of effectiveness? Well, this just demonstrates that. But also, I guess it's not really fair to compare that when Yumis and cavalry are fighting each other. That is the end of the game and the end of the series. This time, Interjection does get it right. The score is 4-1 in Bramboy's favour. It was not a clean sweep. Gaga can go away with his with some doesn't have to be totally ashamed, I suppose. But an interesting result. The chat at first thought this would be a 4-0 sweep in favour of Red. That is not the case. But again, we do this every Saturday on twitch.tv/Age of Empires. The VODs are always uploaded to this YouTube channel. Do follow either of those if you would like to see more of this. Thank you very much for watching. Do leave a like if you enjoyed the video. But we're now going to talk about the rest of this game. And if you want to stay and listen to that, that's fine. But I do often see this giant drop-off when the final game is done. So I wanted to get that in before we discuss the game. So that was that.
Perfectly reasonable thing to expect, but I mean, it was kind of a cute idea to try the Yojimbo, but I mean, honestly, with Japan, I think it's right to not age up. I feel like your better chance is to just get a very strong massive Ashi, and you need some Nagi in this mix as well, right? Because if you look at what Green has right now, even there's no anti-cav in this mix, right? There's no musketeers for Germany, and making war wagons is the last thing that he's probably thinking about doing right now, especially against a dual Rax opening. So if you can have some cav in this fight, if you can have some Nagis in the fight, it at least forces the Ulans to to like kind of come back and defend the skirmishers a little bit, right? And that gives your Ashies a lot more time to be applying some DPS and getting up in the face of the skirms, maybe just doing Ashy things running around the map, stuff like that. But when you age up, you sink 2,200 resources into a fairly slow age up, and you don't have that immediate impact with your shipments like the German player does. It feels like you're falling behind. And so for any aspiring Japan players out of here, I don't know that there's a right or wrong way to play this matchup. I think there's options in both, and depending on the map, maybe on a closer map like this, it makes it even more dangerous to age up. But in general, I think I would prefer to stay in the second age and just get a really big mass and try and rely on keeping my economy really far ahead, keeping as many shrines up as possible, and then just dumping as many cards into upgrading my units as possible in the second age, and staying really strong in the second age.
Now, also worth pointing out that Red did lose a couple of musketeers. You know, he had them quite far forward as Germany had aged up, and you know, Germany do have a lot of units very, very quickly, especially cavalry, which can snare you when you're that far away from home. Keeping his units at home would certainly have improved his odds of having units, and could have been different, especially if he'd gone with a different build and not built a monastery and all of those things. But certainly did try that. Turns out it doesn't see a lot of play because it's not very good, probably.
Yeah, probably so. I am going to do a
invest a big
today.
card in it, don't you? So that is the thing. A replay, you say?
Yeah, I'm gonna be doing a replay today.
All right. Well, I'm gonna end my recording there, and I guess the replay will be available. So more info on that, and Zuta's gonna do that now if you're in the Twitch. So I guess I'll end the recording. Thanks for watching. See you next time.